Greetings, Wiki fans! Michael here, and in today's video, I'm probably gonna end up pissing quite a few of you off. Ever since the announcement of Pokemon Sword and Shield, my Twitter feed has been full of toxic garbage. And also, people making tier lists for their favorite starter Pokemon. I, of course, want to be cool like everyone else, so I decided to make my own Pokemon tier lists, but in video form. And not just a favorite starter tier list. Nay, this shall be the ultimate Pokemon tier list. And the reason it is the ultimate Pokemon tier list is because it is a tier list. Yes, there will be multiple Pokemon tier lists in this video, and they won't just be of starter Pokemon. Although, appropriately, we are starting with them. This is my tier list for the base form starter Pokemon, and just the base forms. I am not taking into account any of these Pokemon's evolutions when making my decision on what tier they go into. And before I dive too deep into this tier list, I should explain the significance / meaning of all the tiers that will apply to all of the tier lists for this entire video. Every single tier is based on my personal opinion towards these Pokemon. S tier Pokemon are ones that I really like or love. A tier Pokemon are ones that I think are good. I like them. They're pretty solid Pokemon. B tier Pokemon are ones that I think are alright. They're fine. I'm, for the most part, neutral to them. C tier Pokemon are ones that I'm not really a fan of. I think they could be a bit better in one way or another. And D tier Pokemon suck, in my opinion. They're Pokemon that I dislike for one reason or another. Also, this is super important. The ordering within a tier is meaningless. So where a Pokemon is from left to right doesn't matter at all. All that matters is where they are north to south. Yes, Mikey, north to south, because that's what I meant to say. All that matters is their positioning vertically. In fact, their horizontal positioning, I'm pretty sure I just tried to go by dex number, so that's how they're ordered horizontally unless I made a mistake. Trying to order all of them within every tier would just be way too time consuming. So now that we've covered that stuff, I will now provide a short reasoning for why each of these Pokemon is in their respective tier. Chikorita's necklace is tacky. Fennekin's head is too large and its ear hair is weird. Poplio's nose is too big. Totodile is kinda cute, but has soulless eyes in its 3D model. Chimchar is alright. I'm just a bit like Ron Stoppable. I've never been really a huge fan of monkeys. Snively's attitude annoys me, and I don't like that it's supposed to be a snake, but barely looks like one. And Tepig, because it's wearing a diaper. I have the same thing to say about every one of the B tier Pokemon. I think they're cute, well-designed Pokemon, but none stand out to me for any reason. The A tier Pokemon are all very good-looking Pokemon, and stand out to me because I've used them at one point and enjoyed doing so. Except Sobble, obviously, but it is the starter that I plan to pick as of now in Pokemon Swish. Or Swashy. And for S tier, Squirtle was my favorite Pokemon for many years before I got my first Pokemon game, since it's so stinking cute. But once I got my first Pokemon game, Ruby, then Trico became my favorite, since I love lizards and it was my first real starter in a game. Rowlet is obviously incredibly adorable, and its meme status gives it a lot of extra points. Now that I've covered the base form starters, let's move on to the middle stage starters. Again, just a reminder, this is only taking into account these specific Pokemon, none of their evolutions. Prinplup, Pignite, and Quilladin are ugly, fat abominations that are failed attempts at being cute and cool at the same time, therefore are neither. Dartrix and Brionne look like preteens in the heights of their awkward stages, which makes sense since they're bridges between the totally animal base forms and the more humanoid fully evolved forms, so I understand why they look bad. But they still look bad. Croconaw has a weird mouth and is a caveman suddenly, which I don't really understand, but it's not ugly, it's just a little odd to me. Combusken is phallic and kind of goofy looking, but it still kicks some booty, so it's alright. Braixen is pretty, but the ear hair and the butt stick still throw me off a little bit. Torracat seems weirdly muscular to me. It seems like a lot of people really like Torracat. I don't really get the appeal. It's like, it's trying to be a buff man, but it's still on all fours. I don't know, it just throws me off a little bit. The B tier Pokemon, again, are good-looking Pokemon that just simply don't stand out a whole lot to me. The A tier Pokemon are great, cool Pokemon that I think are designed very well. Extra props to Bayleaf for being a dope-looking improvement on Chikorita. I love the head leaf blade thing, you know? It's just like, whatcha? And finally, Grovyle and Frogadier, both of which are considered by many to be the best middle stage starters. Grovyle, again, is part of my favorite Evo line of all of them, and just looks so sleek and kick-ass. Frogadier has a similar aesthetic, looking sleek and kick-ass. Also, I love the darker color on its head, looking kind of like a superhero mask. And now, for the last starter tier list, but not the last tier list, the fully evolved starters. Empoleon, Emboar, and Delphox are ugly, uncomfortable abominations. Delphox is my least favorite since it's a creepy person wearing a dress of hair with a hairy-eared fox's head. It's disturbing, and I have always thought that and will continue to until a worse starter comes along. Meganium is a step down from Bayleaf since the dope head leaf blade is gone. Why did you replace that really cool head weapon with just some antenna? I don't understand. Feraligatr is alright, but I've always thought it had some weird body proportions. Superior is okay, but I really dislike how useless it is in Unova playthroughs. Chestnut looks kinda goofy, and its color scheme to me doesn't make much sense. I would like Chestnut a lot more if its normal coloring was its shiny coloring. Incineroar is alright, but I would have preferred Litten remain on all fours and be this really fearsome tiger rather than a tiger man. Primarina looks good, but it just doesn't fit my personal taste of Pokemon. The B tier Pokemon are solid Pokemon that deserve to be the favorites of some people. Samurott I would say is the weakest of all of these since its beard is a little strange, but it gets those points back since its shell swords are really badass. As for A tier, all of these Pokemon are great. I've used all of them at some point and enjoy doing so since they're kick-ass and fearsome without being too overbearingly scary. They're popular because they deserve to be. And S tier, of course, includes my favorite Pokemon of all time, Sceptile, along with Torterra, my first starter in Sinnoh that I'm pretty attached to, and Blaziken, the Pokemon that definitely would be my favorite Pokemon of all time if I'd picked Torchic instead of Trico. In other words, it lacks the emotional attachment that the other two have, but all of the potential is still there since it is just so cool. So that wraps up the starter tier lists, but wait, there's more. Next is the Eeveelution tier list. Notice how none of them are in the D tier. That is because I think every single Eeveelution is a well-designed, pretty good-looking Pokemon. Glaceon is the lowest of all of them because I feel like it's just a bit underwhelming. They definitely could have done some cooler things. Cooler things. With the ice typing than just a light blue coloring and an odd hairstyle. That being said, it's still a fine Pokemon. Flareon, Espeon, and Sylveon are fine and well designed, and I see the appeal for others. There's just not any for me. Eevee, Vaporeon, and Leafeon are very solid Pokemon, and I would be happy to have any of them. But Umbreon and Jolteon are the best of the best, with Umbreon narrowly beating out Jolteon to be my favorite Eeveelution. It is no coincidence that these two are the Eeveelution bros that appear the most frequently in my Pokemon Talk series. They're the perfect balance of cute and fearsome, but Umbreon gets extra points for having an amazing shiny. Next is my pseudo legendary tier list, and this list will only focus on the fully evolved forms, since, God, 2 sets of tier lists where I go over every stage of 3-stage evolutionary lines would just be, that would be too much. Como-O is D tier because it looks goofy. I get the point of the scales, but they still just look ridiculous to me. It just looks like it's trying to be fearsome and show off its armor, but it's trying too hard and put on way too much and just looks silly as a result. Goodra is C tier because it's just a bit underwhelming to me. It's cute for sure, but I feel like they could have done more with the design to make it look just a bit more fearsome and less just straight up cuddly. Also, its pure dragon typing is kinda lame. Should have been dragon water or dragon poison. Tyranitar and Hydreigon are fearsome and cool, but I just don't have much attachment to them. Salamence is badass, fearsome, and sleek, so it earns its spot in A tier. Dragonite is a great balance of being cute and fearsome. And if you don't think Dragonite looks fearsome, you are incorrect. But finally, Metagross and Garchomp take the cake, since they're both super badass and intimidating and look just so cool. But I also have attachment to them since I've used them to kick a lot of butt in multiple different situations. And the next tier list, which is my final tier list for this video, is my electric rodent slash sort of Pikachu clone tier list. I specify electric rodent, so no Meryl, no Mimikyu, and also it's only kind of a Pikachu clone tier list, because I am including all of Pikachu's evolutionary line in this tier list. Emolga is D tier, because it was very annoying in the black and white anime and is also really annoying to fight in Elisa's gym. Pachirisu is cute, but God, I can't really put my finger on why I don't really like it that much. I don't know. Maybe it's the buck teeth. Togedemaru is D tier because it's cute, but not as cute as the others. It lacks the big head, tiny body aspect that helps make the other clones look adorable, and also, I think its eyes are too close together. I spaced them out just a bit, and personally think it looks quite a bit cuter as a result. Pikachu, Raichu, and Dedenne are cute, good-looking Pokemon, but they've never done anything to get me extra attached to them. Also, Dedenne does have buck teeth, but I think it's cuter than Pachirisu, so I guess that makes up for the buck teeth thing. Alolan Raichu is A tier since I like it more than regular Raichu, and the psychic surfing on its own tail is a really cool design feature. Plusle and Minun are very cute, and they get bumped up to A tier due to the nostalgia factor from Ruby and Sapphire, the first Pokemon games that I ever played. And finally, Pichu is S tier. It's the cutest Pokemon on this list by far, and it's just so consistently adorable everywhere it shows up. Also, I hatched a shiny one in Pokemon Go, so I'm really proud of that. So there we have it. Those are my Pokemon tier lists. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to check out some more of my stuff, I recommend this video here. Alright, that's all I have for now, so till next time, Pokefans. Gotta catch them all!